Hey guys, Deathslayer Magic here, and Wizards thought I couldn't do it. They thought I couldn't handle 59 spoilers in one day, but, well, I'm just gonna have to blow through these really quick. First up, Face of Divinity. Enchant creature, it gets +2/+2 for 3 in white, as long as another aura is attached to this enchanted creature. It has first strike and lifelink. Okay, one aura is putting all your eggs in one basket. Two auras? You're just asking for that creature to get blown up. So put it on hexproof creature, I guess. Next up, first Sliver's Chosen. It's a 3/3 for 5, and Sliver creatures you control have Exalted. Wonderful, great. Next up, a regular cohort. It's another shapeshifter. It's a changeling. It's 2/2 for 4, and when it enters the battlefield, create another 2/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. Well, that's annoying, but still, it doesn't technically do anything. It packs the board, but it doesn't actually do anything. It has no passive ability. Next up, Knight of Old Benalia. It's a 5-cost 3/3 with Suspend 5 for 1. Oh my gosh, you are going to be dead in 5 turns in Modern. Trust me, I assure you. And it has an ETB where all other creatures you control get a +1/+1 till end of turn. Total, utter waste of everything. Next up, Mitsubishi Lancer Sliver. Let's see. Slivers you control at first strike. Great. Piss off, Slivers. Recruit the Worthy. So it costs 1 with a buyback 3. You may pay an additional 3. If you do, you put it back in your hand when it resolves. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. If you want to pay 4 to bring out a token, which by the way has lifelink, unlike this one, just cast that 2-cost enchantment that everybody's running right now, where every time you gain life, you can draw a card if you pay 2, and then pay 4 and create a lifelink soldier, or vampire, or whatever it is. That's just a better card than this, unless you care about the number of spells you cast in a turn. Next up, Reprobation. Why can I say this word? Reprobation. Yeah, that one. Big ol' hot Avacyn Pokestick. That's what I'm calling it. It's a 2-cost aura. Enchant creature. It loses all abilities and is a coward creature with base power, toughness, 0 and 1. That's fantastic. For 2, I'd prefer to just exile it, but that's pretty funny though. Next up, Rock's Veteran. It's a Rhino Soldier, 2/4 for 4. It has Battle Cry. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1 attack until end of turn. And when it attacks, tap target creature and opponent controls. That's a lot of things. I gotta say, that actually pretty much makes this worthwhile and playable. Maybe not an actual Modern, but maybe like Commander or Draft for sure. Next up, ultra cool artwork. We got Settle Beyond Reality, aka Let's Take This Outside. It's a 5-cost sorcery. Choose one or both. Exile target creature you don't control, or exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So, nuke something and flicker something, or both. Cool. 5's a little high, but it does exile 2 things, so yeah. Next up, Soul Strike Technique. Enchant creature for 2, and it gets +1/+1 and has vigilance. When an enchanted creature dies, manifest the top card of your library. You guys know what manifest does. That was pretty recent. So yeah, this is pretty good. Next up, Stirring Address. 2-cost instant, target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and then overload 6. If you pay overload, then it changes to each creature you control, which is overpriced for what it does, but I guess the optionality of it. Still an instant speed ambush in the middle of combat. Next up, Trustworthy Scout. 2/2 for 2. And you pay 2, exile Trustworthy Scout from your graveyard. Search your library for a card named Trustworthy Scout. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shelf your library. Too bad it's a 2/2 for 2 that does nothing. I mean, it kind of keeps coming back and thins this trashy, useless card out of your library, but I've got a better idea. Just don't put it in the first place. Next up, Blizzard Strix. It's a 3/2 for 5 with flash, flying, and of course it's a snow creature. And when it enters the battlefield, if you control another snow permanent, which of course you do, exile target permanent other than Blizzard Strix, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So a delayed flicker with an underpowered snow creature. Wow. Next up, Cunning Evasion. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. Oh, for 2, that's a pretty powerful enchantment. I mean, yeah, now it's in your hand, but this could create some very bad situations for your opponent. Next up, Kite. It's a 1/2 for 2 flyer, Drake. That's some freaky eyes, bro, and it gets +2 as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. In which case, you're clearly playing Control, or is it, and there are better cards than this. Next up, we've got Iceberg Cancrix, but let's be honest, it's just Iceberg Cancer. It's a 0/4 for 2 snow crab. Oh boy. Snow creature crab. Whenever another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target player put the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Slowest, least effective mill. If you're playing snow and you're not playing mill, this is just stupid. Next up, Onerophage. It's a 1/2 for 4 Squid Illusion. Oh boy. And it's flying because of course it is. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on Onerophage. That can get out of control really quick. Next up, Phantasmal Form. It's an instant 3 blue. Until end of turn, up to 2 target creatures each have base power and toughness 3/3, gain flying, and become blue illusions in addition to their other colors and types, then draw a card. I mean, 3/3s aren't that great, but flying, I mean, that I get. Well, you can turn their best creatures into 3/3s, or you can turn your worst creatures into 3/3s, so whatever. Next, Reign of Revelation. It's a 4-cost instant, draw 3 cards, then discard a card. Oh yeah, we've never seen this before. Next up, Smoke Shroud. It's an aura, 2-cost blue enchant creature. It gets +1/+1 in flying. When a ninja enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Smoke Shroud from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to that creature. Hello. Well, they realized with some of these aura cards that they need to have value past it goes on a creature, and I hope it doesn't get blown up. Next up, Windcaller Aven. It's a 6-cost blue 4/3 flyer, and it has cycling 1, and when you cycle it, target creature gains flying until end of turn. This is just underperforming overpriced garbage. Oh, it has cycling. Who cares? Next up, Winter's Rest. Seriously, calm down with the auras. Jeez, this is also a snow enchantment. Oh boy. 2-cost, and when it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. And if you control at least one other snow permanent, it doesn't untap ever. Well, blue removal for 2, basically. I mean, I consider that removal. It's definitely gone. Next up, Azra Smokeshaper. Oh my gosh, I need this in foil. Y'all know I collect purple foils. It's a 3/3 for 4 with Ninjutsu 2. When it enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. It's a bit of an overpriced one and done, but if you get it for its ninjutsu cost, hey. Next up, First Sphere Gargantua. It's a 5/4 for 6, and it's a horror. And when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. That's kind of nice. And then Unearth 3. Hate that effect. Pay 3, return from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile it at the beginning of your next end step, or if it would leave battlefield, unearth only at sorcery speed. So once they think they killed it, it's coming back for 1 more swing. Oh boy. By the way, you get that draw 1 card and lose 1 life thing on the unearth ability too. Next up, Gluttonous Slug. It's a 0/3 for 2 with Menace. Okay. And it has Evolve. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. I don't have time to wait for this card to not be crap. Next up, Grave Shifter. The name sounded familiar, but I don't remember there being a changeling called this, but whatever, I'm not looking these up. So it's a 2/2 for 4 changeling, and when it enters the battlefield, return 1 target creature from your graveyard to your hand. I mean, yeah, in Tribal, you'd probably want to do that. Next up, Mob. It's a 5-cost instant. In black, it has Convoke, which is nice, and destroy target creatures. So, in other words, it is literally Murderous Cut, except with Convoke instead of Delve. And a deck wouldn't really run both, because you're either going to pack the graveyard or the battlefield, hopefully. So next up, Purrid Goblin. It's a 2/2 for 2, and it has Persist. If it dies, it comes back with a -1/-1 counter on it. It's like Undying, except bad. The only thing is if you drop a +1 counter on it, it now can die again and come back again. Next up, Rank Officer, 3/1 for 4. It's a zombie soldier, and when it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, create a 2/2 zombie, and you can pay 2, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Each opponent loses 2 life, but you have to tap them. I mean, all around pretty good. It's just 4 is a little high for being that weak, so I don't think he'll see widespread play, but in limited, he'll be pretty decent. Next up, Ransack the Lab, 2-cost sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them in your hand, and put the rest into the graveyard. So it's kind of like Read the Bones, but arguably worse. Next up, Return from Extinction. You know, if those are slivers, no, don't. Stay extinct. I hate you all. It's 2-cost sorcery. Choose 1. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. That's not bad for 2. Or return 2 target creature cards that share a creature type from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, that is really powerful. Next up, Sadistic Obsession. 4-cost aura enchant creature, and it has pay 1 black tap, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. So you lose the use of that creature for combat, basically, and it can just shrink stuff over time. It is a recurring effect, but then if you lose the creature, you lose 2 cards, so it's pretty damn risky. Next up, probably one of the weirder artworks in the set by far, Shatter Assumptions, or just Headbutt a Stained Glass Window, either one. I guarantee some SJW wrote this, and it's supposed to mean something anyway. It's a 3-cost, double black, by the way, sorcery. Choose 1, target opponent reveals their hand and discards all colorless non-land cards. Ouch! Or target opponent reveals their hand and discards all multicolored cards. Yeah, you're just going to play this to completely shut down artifact decks. That second option, that's just there for decoration. Next up, Silumgar Scavenger. It's a 2/3 for 5, absolute value town. Flying and then exploit. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Silumgar Scavenger. It gains haste until end of turn if it exploited that creature. That is a weird and roundabout way to phrase that, but okay. Once again, if it already costs 5, you don't have time to wait for this card to be good, so it's not. Next up, Ward Eye Witch. It's a 3/2 for 3 Goblin Shaman. Whenever Ward Eye Witch or another creature you control dies, scry 1. Very nice. And unlike other goblins that do something, this actually has some teeth. 3 damage, 3 cost. There you go, baseline, bare minimum. And now we're moving on to the red ones with Bogart and Dragonheart. It's a 2/2 for 3. Human Shaman, sacrifice another creature until end of turn. It becomes a dragon with base power and toughness, 4/4 flying and haste. It's a stupid weak card unless you're going to sack something that you stole with active treason. Next up, Cleaving Sliver. Oh boy, Sliver creatures you control get +2 attack. F you. Next, Igneous Elemental. It's a 4/3 for 6, and this spell costs 2 less to cast if there is a land in your graveyard. When Igneous Elemental enters the battlefield, you may have it deal 2 damage to target creatures. So already, just to get it back to what it should cost, you need a land in your graveyard. And then it does a crappy little effect, and yeah, this is not amazing. Next up, we've got Quakefoot Cyclops. It's a 4/4 for 5, and when it enters the battlefield, up to 2 target creatures can't block this turn. That can be utterly devastating and game-winning. Also, it has cycling too, which is amazing, and when you cycle it, target creature can't block this turn. So, no matter what, you're going to get some value out of this. Yeah, it's only a 4/4 for 5, and it's in red, but in a Gruul style deck, no problem. And even that, 4/4 is not that bad, and the effect is amazing. So next up, we got Spinehorn Minotaur. It's a 2/3 for 3, and it's a Berserker Minotaur, by the way, of course. And as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, it has double strike. Okay, and if you haven't, then it's a weak piece of crap that shouldn't be in your deck. I'm sensing a theme here, useless creatures that conditionally get better, but you can't count on them and they're not reliable in any way. You know what's better than this? Literally any creature with prowess. Next up, Vengeful Devil. It's a 1/1 for 2 with haste, and it has Morbid. You can tap and deal 1 damage to any target, but only if a creature died this turn. I love Morbid. They need to bring that back to standard. That said, this is weak, stupid filler crap. Next up, Viashino Sand Sprinter. It's a 4/1 for 3, and it has Trample and Haste. At the beginning of the end step, return Viashino Sand Sprinter to its owner's hand. So in other words, it's got, I always forget that thing that the goblins had in that one set. Was it Dash? I don't even remember. Oh, and also Cycling 1. So, they're probably going to chump block it and kill it the first swing it makes, but, it does have Trample. I don't know. It won't stick around to get hit during their turn, though, so, I don't know, that's something. Next up, Volatile Claws. It's a 3-cost instant until end of turn. Creatures you control get +2 attack and gain all creature types. Why? What deck would this go in? Why are you running half off tribal? Why would you need this? When are you going to cast this? You can only have 4 in your deck. Granting it Merfolk twice isn't going to do anything. This is a dumb card. Well, that said, it does give all creatures +2 though. Next up, Bellowing Elk, which if you haven't heard that, look it up on YouTube. They sound really freaking whack. And it's a 4-cost 4/2. As long as you had another creature enter the battlefield under your control this turn, it has Trample and Indestructible. Oh, that's nice. Okay, now finally something actually good. A 4/2 that's going to die in combat almost regardless, unless you drop something in. Still kind of in the unreliable, but maybe you can improve it from their category, but it's not that bad. Next up, Conifer Wurm. It's a 4/4 for 5 snow creature. It has Trample, and if you pay 4, it gains +X until end of turn. Oh, I already know what it says. Where X is the number of snow permanents you control. Shocker. So that's game ending. Well, it's a real mix of unplayable crap and overpowered crap when it comes to snow stuff. Next up, Excavating Enurid. It's a 4/4 for 5, and when it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a land. If you do, draw a card. Also, Threshold. As long as 7 or more cards are in your graveyard, it gets +1/+1 and has Vigilance. Very nice. I guess, yeah, if you're way over on land, you could correct it and draw a card at the same time, so whatever. Next up, it's Murasa Behemoth, but if you're like anybody that I play with, it's Merengue Behemoth. Anyway, it's a 5/5 for 6 with Trample, and it gets +3/+3 as long as there is a land card in your graveyard. So, underpowered for its cost and not good, and then, conditionally, it might actually be good. What is with that? Is that like a mechanic in the set? It's like they're trying to take every single card and make it deck specific, but they're like deck archetypes that don't exist. So next up, Rhyme Tender. It's a 2/2 for 2 and untap another target snow permanent. So kind of a little bit of extra ramp there, because you can untap a land, or Pseudo Vigilance because you can untap something that attacked. That's pretty good. I'd probably throw it in a snow deck, which I would never build ever. Speaking of that, Saddled Rhymestag. It's a 2/2 for 2 snow creature elk, and Saddled Rhymestag gets +2/+2 as long as you had another creature enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Oh, good, that again. At least, like, at the baseline, it's a snow permanent, and it's a 2/2 for 2. So it goes from vanilla to exceptionally good under the right conditions. Now, that's the right way to do this. Next up, Treefolk Umbra. Oh, good, I love Umbra cards. They're so fair. They're the best thing ever invented. So it's an aura 3 cost enchant creature. It gets +0/+2. Oh boy, and assigns, oh here we go, combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Kill me now. Totem Armor, really? You don't say. If enchanted creature would be destroyed, instead remove all damage from it and destroy this aura. And that's why I hate Umbras. In fact, I don't care about Umbras. I just hate Totem Armor, which happens to, as far as I know, exclusively be on the Umbras. So yeah, obviously draft that card. Next up, Treetop Ambusher. It's a 2/1 for 2 with dash. Hey, they're bringing it back. Let's see if I remember this correctly. You may cast a spell for its dash cost. If you do, it gains haste and it is returned to the battlefield. Whatever, it goes back to your hand at the end of the thing. And whenever it attacks target creature you control, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. I mean, this is a little small to be a dash creature. 3/1 is kind of like the baseline. That was some of the better ones. But the +1 effect is cool. And then it's like, oh, well, you got 2 attackers and they have 1 blocker. Which one are they going to block? The dash one or the one that you boosted? Still, overall, I don't think this is very good. Now, if you get a creature ETB trigger, now we're talking. Next up, Trumpeting Herd. It's a 4-cost sorcery and create a 3/3 green elephant creature token and then rebound. So you're going to get one next turn too. I mean, that's not bad. You can do a little better for 4 mana in Modern, but it's not that bad. Next up, Twin Silk Spider. It's a 1/2 for 3 with reach, and when it enters the battlefield, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. Yeah, spiders are weak and they have reach. Big surprise. Next up, Winding Way. It's a 2-cost sorcery. Choose creature or land. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all cards of the chosen type revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Well, that's a fun little gamble, but the cool thing is it's whatever one you need at the time in a traditional green deck. That's pretty good. Next up, Amorphous Axe. Don't assume it's gendered, damn it. It's a 2-cost artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3 attack and is every creature type. Oh, great. And then equip 3. Once again, either the creature needs to have that ability, or what deck would this possibly go in? Like, if you're running an all-elves deck, shocker, it's all elves. If you think, oh, I'll put in one creature that's not an elf, and I'll just fix it with the Amorphous Axe. Those two are never going to meet up in a game, okay? You got like a 12% chance of that happening in the average game. Another card that seems cool on the surface, but is probably actually a detriment because now your creatures are also cowards. I will say, though, still, +3 attack for a 2-drop and a 3 equip, I'd still probably draft it. Next up, Birthing Boughs. It's a 3-cost artifact, pay 4, and tap it, create a 2/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. Oh, that's fun. Still, once again, like I've said before, it's still, yeah, it's on tribal, but it's still a vanilla creature. There's nothing special about it other than, oh, look, it's on tribal now. So it's like playing a 2/2 vanilla elf for 2. Oh, except it costs 4, but it doesn't cost you a card. So yeah, you flood the battlefield with on-tribal whatevers, but is it really worth it? You would need the biggest, like, tribal power boost ever. Like, a whole bunch of multiple +1/+1s to make this worth it at all. But then again, would I put this in a non-tribal black who cares I just need stuff to die deck? Yeah, probably. Next up, Fountain of Ichor. It's a 3-cost artifact. You can tap it, add 1 mana of any color. Nice. And pay 3, and it becomes a 3/3 dinosaur artifact creature until end of turn. Why? Hey, black crude oil is not made out of dinosaurs. It's made out of algae. So, I don't know. I guess this is okay. Next up, Cave of Temptation. It's a land, basic, taps for colorless, doesn't come in tapped. Pay 1, tap it, add 1 mana of any color. Okay, nice little filter. And pay 4, sacrifice it, and put 2 1/1 counters in target creature. Activate this only at sorcery speed. That's overall pretty nice. The problem is colorless. And yeah, it's a filter, but like, who cares? Because then you can't use it. I don't know. Doesn't seem that good to me. Then we got Shelter. It's a 2-cost instant. Why are we back at white cards? Okay, something happened with the sorting here. Maybe this is from yesterday. I did go chronological. Anyway, instant speed, 2 cost white, yay. Target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Draw a card. That is exceptionally good. I mean, for one, you could do it with a Scry with God's Willing, but I'd almost rather draw a card than Scry because both of them get a bad card out of the way, but one of them, if it's a good card, puts it in your hand. So it's just better. Oh, and I was right. That is the last card. So that is all the spoilers. All of them. All 255. So by Monday, I should have the box EV calculation because all the prices should be up. Spoiler alert, it doesn't look very good. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.